The world stands on edge tonight, gripped by a sense of uncertainty and anticipation. People everywhere are holding their breath, glued to screens and radios, as breaking news unfolds hour by hour. In a daring, pre-dawn operation in the English Channel, French special forces have stormed and seized a Russian supertanker, the Zvezda, in international waters. French authorities allege the vessel was covertly transporting advanced military hardware destined for a Middle Eastern proxy group, an act that blatantly violates strict international sanctions. This bold and unprecedented move has ignited a diplomatic firestorm, thrusting Paris and Moscow into their most direct and public confrontation in years, one that could reshape the balance of power between Russia and NATO. The seizure is far more than a dispute over illicit cargo. It's a test of international law, a challenge to the authority of global institutions, and a moment that could redefine alliances. President Macron, standing firm, has drawn a clear line against Russia's shadow operations. But in doing so, he's provoked a fierce response from President Putin, who sees this as a direct affront to Russian power. In retaliation, Russia has threatened to deploy its navy to escort future shipments, dramatically raising the risk of a direct military clash in these tense waters. Every maneuver, every statement is being watched and analyzed by governments and intelligence agencies worldwide as they scramble to prevent a regional crisis from spiraling into a global conflict. The implications are enormous, rippling through global oil markets, shaking investor confidence, and testing the very foundations of military alliances that have kept the peace for decades. The world wonders, will this crisis forge a new unity between NATO and the EU, or will it expose deep divisions and vulnerabilities within the Western alliance? In homes and capitals across the globe, people are watching, hoping for calm and de-escalation, yet bracing themselves for the possibility of a much wider conflict. The spark has been lit in the Channel. The world now faces the urgent challenge of stopping this fire before it spreads beyond control. The decisions made in the coming days by leaders, diplomats and generals will determine whether this crisis escalates into open conflict or is contained before it engulfs the world. In the dim light just before sunrise, France's elite GIGN commandos prepared for a mission that would capture the world's attention. Operation Sea Serpent was about to begin, shrouded in secrecy and urgency. Descending swiftly from helicopters and swarming in fast boats, the commandos executed a coordinated assault, boarding the Russian-flagged Zvezda near the port of Le Havre. The operation was meticulously planned, with every second counting. The Russian crew, still groggy from sleep, was caught completely off guard. Some stood frozen in disbelief, while others quickly complied with orders, hands raised in surrender. French authorities revealed they had tracked the tanker for weeks, using advanced surveillance and intelligence gathering. Their investigation pointed to a hidden compartment on board, suspected of concealing missile components and advanced drone technology, items banned under international sanctions. The alleged destination was a sanctioned group in the Levant, raising fears of escalating tensions in an already volatile region. French forces moved quickly to secure the ship, facing only minimal resistance. The captain and senior officers were detained for questioning as the rest of the crew was rounded up and the bridge brought under control. Under heavy escort, the Zvezda was brought into port, now surrounded by armed guards and under constant surveillance, its fate uncertain. Investigators are now meticulously searching the ship's cargo hold, looking for the hidden cargo that Paris claims could provide crucial evidence of illegal arms trafficking. The world's media has gathered at the harbor, waiting anxiously to see what, if anything, will be uncovered in the coming days. This was no routine inspection. It was a dramatic show of force, a clear warning to Moscow, and a signal that France is willing to act decisively. The Zvezda now stands at the center of a global crisis, its fate and the secrets it may hold, watched by the entire world. President Macron, standing resolute at the Élysée Palace, addressed the nation and the world, firmly defending the Zvezda seizure as both legal and absolutely necessary. He emphasized that France acted within the bounds of international law and that the decision was not taken lightly but with the utmost consideration for national and European security. Macron argued that the intercepted tanker was part of a covert operation to arm a dangerous proxy group, one that posed a direct threat to regional stability and peace. Intelligence reports, he claimed, pointed to a sophisticated network seeking to destabilize Europe's borders, making intervention unavoidable, framing the operation as a robust defense of both French and European sovereignty. Macron vowed to uphold and enforce international sanctions. He called on European allies to stand united, insisting that collective security was at stake and that France would not act alone. To reassure the international community, Macron promised full transparency, pledging to present detailed evidence to the United Nations and to France's closest allies. He invited independent observers to review the findings, aiming to build trust and legitimacy. Macron was adamant that this was not an act of aggression against Russia, but rather a targeted law enforcement action against illegal activity threatening global order. He stressed that France's quarrel was with criminal networks, not with sovereign states. In the aftermath, most French political leaders have rallied behind him, viewing this as a rare moment for national unity and a chance to reaffirm France's leadership on the world stage. Yet not everyone is convinced. Some opposition voices warn of dangerous escalation, questioning whether France is prepared for the risks of direct confrontation with Russia and the unpredictable consequences that may follow. For now, public opinion appears to support Macron's bold stance, with many citizens expressing pride in France's decisive action, even as uncertainty lingers about what comes next. On the world stage, Macron is projecting strength and determination, but the risks he faces are immense, and the eyes of the world are watching closely. By seizing the Zvezda, Macron has made a defining move, one that could shape not only his own legacy, but also the future of France's role in global affairs. He has asserted French power and resolve, but in doing so, he may have set in motion a chain of events that even he cannot fully control, with consequences that could reverberate for years. The stakes for France, and for all of Europe, have never been higher as the world waits to see what will happen next. Moscow's response was immediate and furious. The Kremlin denounced the seizure as piracy and a violation of maritime law, demanding the Zvezda's release. President Putin, stern and unyielding, accused France of aggression and denied any illegal cargo. He warned of an asymmetrical and painful response for French interests. Russia's Ministry of Defense announced that Russian commercial vessels could now be escorted by Navy warships through high-risk zones. This move risks direct confrontation with NATO forces at sea. Moscow also threatened economic retaliation and diplomatic isolation for France. Putin is rallying support at home and testing the resolve of France's allies. The world waits to see if these threats are a bluff or a promise. The tanker seizure has rattled NATO and the EU. Publicly, leaders call for calm, but behind closed doors, divisions are clear. France acted alone, leaving allies uneasy. The US offers cautious support, but worries about escalation. Germany and Italy urge investigation, wary of confrontation with Russia. Eastern NATO members quietly applaud France's tough stance, while others, like Hungary, question the legality. The crisis exposes the West's lack of consensus on risky unilateral actions. The unity of NATO and the EU is being tested, not by attack but by political strain. The information war over the Zvezda is fierce. Russian media paints France as the aggressor, fueling patriotic anger at home. Chinese outlets criticize France's actions, warning of Western hypocrisy and instability. In Iran and elsewhere, the incident is used to highlight double standards in Western foreign policy. These narratives shape public opinion, making it harder for leaders to back down. In Russia, public anger ties Putin's hands. In the West, fears of war could pressure leaders toward diplomacy. The battle for global legitimacy is as crucial as the standoff itself. In this crisis, The side that wins the narrative may win the upper hand. The greatest danger now is a naval confrontation. Russian warships escorting tankers through the Channel could face French or NATO vessels. One misstep could trigger disaster. Military officials warn the rules of engagement are dangerously unclear. The economic fallout is already being felt. Oil prices are spiking, and shipping insurance is soaring. If the Channel becomes militarized, global trade could be disrupted, risking recession. Diplomats are scrambling for a solution, but with national pride at stake, compromise is elusive. The world is searching for an off-ramp before the first Russian escort sets sail. The clock is ticking on de-escalation. The Zvezda crisis has exposed deep fractures in the global order. Old rules are breaking down as major powers take unilateral risks. NATO and the EU face a stress test. Will they emerge stronger or more divided? The best hope is swift diplomacy, the worst, a military clash in the Channel. More likely is a tense standoff, a new Cold War at sea. The world waits, uncertain if this is the spark for a wider conflict. Tonight the question remains, can peace hold, or is this the beginning of something far more dangerous?